Okay, so now we're getting into our aggregates and grouping part of this exercise. And, aggregate functions are really quick and easy, so I'm going to do those, I believe it's number 18 through 21 in this video. And then the grouping is a little more complicated. I'll do those in the last couple of videos. So number 18 here says, get an average invoice total from the invoices table and display that to 2 decimal places. So, I think, it would have been easy enough without having to do the 2 decimals thing, but basically using my AVG aggregate function to get an average of the invoice total. And I'm giving it a nice meaningful column name that's coming from the invoices table. I'm going to run that real quick. So apparently the average is about $1,879 in some cents. We're told to display that to 2 decimal places so we can use the convert function. So I'm wrapping that answer in the convert function that we talked about before, converting that to a decimal with two places. That's all. Okay, and number 19 says calculate the average invoice balance and display that to 2 decimal places. So the balance, and we talked about this in an earlier video, the balance does not actually exist in the invoices table, but it can be calculated by taking the invoice table minus any credits that the customer received and minus any payments that the customer made. So that spiel there is going to result in the balance. Okay, so you can get an average balance, but you have to do a little bit of maneuvering to get that balance. And, just plug that into your AVG function like you would any other column. Okay. And yeah, so really a lot going on here. And that whole thing is wrapped in, let me see if I can get this all on one line. That whole thing is wrapped in the convert function. So, we have a function nested, the AVG function nested inside the convert function. It's really just syntax when it comes down to it. Okay, on number 20, it says display the highest and lowest invoice totals side by side, give them meaningful column names. This is really straightforward. We're going to use max for the highest and min for the lowest. I'm giving them nice descriptive column names here, max total and min total. Okay, and then number 21, it says how many California vendors are there? Write a SQL statement to calculate and display that amount. So we're going to use the count function here. The count, I can count any one of these, of the columns in the vendor table. I could plug vendor ID in here, vendor name, whatever. But it's more common to just use the asterisk with count because you're counting the number of rows in any given column, and because it's a table, the nature of a table, all columns have the same number of rows. So it doesn't matter what we put in there, any column is going to give us the same number. So just put the star in there and say just count all the columns, all the rows in all the columns. So anyway, we're using the count, but also we're told to just count California vendors. So I do have a where clause on this to isolate the California vendors.